customer service in the industry, lifetime warranty on components, fastest growing company in the industry. 1 in every 4 hearing aids that are fit in the U.S. today are Starkey hearing aids. We're also American owned and operated by Mr. Bill Austin, who is still based out of Minnesota. And the reason why I love this company, I just came to the company in August, and I was working dispensing hearing aids at an ear, nose, and throat office for years. And Starkey is just a great company. Bill Austin started the company in, I think, late 60s or so. This man has a lot of money, and he is still working every morning from probably 7 or 8 in the morning, and he doesn't leave the office till 9 or 10 at night. And when I say office, he's not up in his boardroom office. He actually has a clinic at the Minnesota campus where he sees patients all day, every day. So he has someone that's really running the business side of it, and he still wants to see patients. That's what he does. And a lot of our research and a lot of our new technology and a lot of our new hearing aids go directly through him. So he looks to see what's working, what's not working. He's an incredible man. He also has a foundation where he fits hundreds of thousands of children all over the world, including the United States, with hearing aids that couldn't normally afford them. So when he's not working full-time at the office in Minnesota, he's spending his weekends traveling the world and fitting children all over the world. So he's an exceptional man who inspires me every day to do more and to help more. The path to better hearing. So you need to get your hearing tested as your first step. Once that hearing test happens, we're going to go, you may need a referral for medical care. So when I talked about if there's any signs of infection or fluid or negative pressure in your ear canal, any of those signs will be referred on to a physician. Your amplification choices. If you are a hearing aid candidate, we're going to go over those options like I spoke about, whether it's size, your lifestyle. They're going to discuss all those options, pricing. They're going to discuss what's best for you at that point. Also some communication strategies. When I spoke about where to sit in the restaurant, how to talk to your spouse face-to-face, things like that they're going to talk to you about. And also assistive devices. So there's amplified telephones out there. Sometimes there's those earpieces at the movies so you can hear better. So they can discuss and answer any questions you have about that. All right, does anyone have any questions? Yes?
My biggest gripe about hearing aids is the nuisance of batteries. It drives me crazy. And I swore I would never buy another hearing aid until they came out with one that had a battery that you don't have to worry about in terms of when is it going to go out, you know?
Because hearing aids are so small and so powerful, and the batteries are so small, that on average they say they last about anywhere from 7 to 10 days, depending on what you're wearing. And we also give you tips at night to take the battery out so it saves some battery life. But they are air activated, so as soon as you peel off the sticker of the battery, it starts to lose power. But when it's actually running the hearing aid, it's using up even more. So you do have to change your batteries about once a week or so, but it is because it's running so much technology on such a small battery. But in the scheme of things, the cost of hearing aids, batteries are a very small part of it. It should probably not even cost you $2 a week to keep them up and running. So there's also out there, there's rechargeable batteries, and people do like those. But what we've found is a lot of times you still have to replace that rechargeable battery every year or a couple of years. You have to buy a new one, and those are expensive. So, you know, those end up being $60 for a rechargeable battery, where every week, or you're just paying $2 to replace the batteries. But so batteries is always going to be an issue until the batteries can get stronger, which normally they can't get stronger until they're made bigger. And the hearing aids, no one wants a bigger hearing aid. So that's always going to be an issue. But any other questions? Yes?
Evidence you can only hear what you want to hear.
Oh, I wish. No. We'll work on that for you. I'll put in that request. Anything else? Yes? Do hearing aids... Oh, does hearing loss caused by the usually it's irreversible. Yep, usually it is. So, you know, like I said, my point of that talk is just to make sure that you get your hearing tested. whether or not you're ready for hearing aids, you still should have your hearing tested every year and have that in your records. Yes?
What is your range of cost for hearing aids? I know that they could be all different, but you gotta have a high and a low.
That would be a question for Mr. Gibson.
Okay, Mr. Gibson.
The lowest price hearing aids that we carry are about $900. The highest price that we carry are $3,500. Now, by the way, there are going to be some coupons that we're going to give out where it's $500 off. Folks, that's not going to be for $900 hearing aid.
Right.
We just can't do that.
No,
But
does insurance cover any of that usually or no?
insurances sometimes cover it. We find that United Auto Workers, their insurance would cover it. Teachers from New York, they've had this already built into their unions, so they negotiated these features. But most insurance companies don't cover hearing aids. But when people come in, we'll take their insurance information and contact their insurance company to see if they will cover it.
How about Medicare?
I'm afraid Medicare doesn't cover it. And any of the supplements for Medicare will not cover it either, because what's happening is that is a supplement. First, Medicare's got to cover it, and then, the supplement kicks in.
Any other questions? Yep.
My wife had Meniere's disease,
Mm-hmm.
and she went to that famous doctor downtown. I forget his name.
Silverstein.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, oh yeah.
He's pretty famous in your mind. You guys all know who it is.
That's him. I think they drilled a hole in her ear, with the laser, and put like a pipe cleaner in it,
Yep.
and then put drops in.
A wick.
My wife ended up losing completely her hearing on the left ear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean that the hearing nerve is completely dead? Or is there any chance that something even partially can be restored?
Most likely it is. I mean, she'll need to follow up with him, but was dizziness
She will not go back.
was dizziness involved?
I beg your pardon?
Was dizziness involved with the Meniere's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With the Meniere's.
Yep.
Oh yeah. She has to go up.
Meniere's can sometimes either, there can be cochlear Meniere's, which only affects the hearing aspect of it, but as I showed you guys with those anatomy pictures, your vestibular system is right next to your hearing system. And so the issue with her Meniere's was affecting her vestibular, her balance system. And so he treated that, the vestibular, but also the hearing system ended up being affected also. So most likely it's irreversible, but you'll need to follow up on that and see how much nerve damage there is. But most likely, I would imagine it wouldn't come back, but you'd have to follow up with the physician.
They invited people for some sort of a seminar last year, and they sent a questionnaire, and I filled it out, and I mentioned this. I never got an answer. And I tried to sue him, but my wife prevented me. She says, "Forget it, it's not worth it."
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, and I don't know this man or the practice or the situation, but sometimes if the Meniere's is so bad, I mean, you guys all know dizziness can be really rough for people, vomiting, and they can't get out of bed in the day. And so, I'm sure the doctor's, the physician's goal was to stop that. But in stopping that, it also affected the hearing aspect of it. So, but you would have to have your wife's hearing tested and see if there's any usable hearing.
Thank you.
You'd have to get that tested. But most likely it's irreversible.
Is it true that the longer you put off getting a hearing aid, the more difficult it is to remedy the...
Yes, I mean, hearing aids do not cure the hearing loss. But what happens is the longer you wait, when we talked about discrimination and things like that, when your discrimination scores, for example, my discrimination scores are 100. If you let your hearing loss and you go until your discrimination scores are down at, 40%, and we try to put hearing aids on you, you're just going to think everything sounds garbled. If you would have started younger, you would be how does it work? It's almost like your nerve isn't being amplified for so long.